You okay? You was doing something?
No, I'm good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was just digging online. That's it. Just fucking around, waiting for you to start.
All right. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Black Tips podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host.
Aaron, is that
Oh,
delay or
you might
something?
have a delay.
Okay,
Did you? You didn't reply right away,
I did.
or you did?
Yes, I
Okay,
did.
cool. Then that means we have a delay. Let me
Okay.
refresh. Okay. So I just want to see if it's a delay. I'm gonna do it again. I'm your host, Rod, and I'm always joined by my co-host.
Karen.
Okay, here we go. Hey, welcome to the Black Tips podcast. I'm your host, Rod, and I'm always joined by my co-host.
Karen.
And we are live on Saturday night doing some podcasting. We went to the movies this morning separately but equally. And that's why we couldn't record this morning. We hopped on with 3 guys on, and so now you guys are getting like uh, a dinner time Black Tips podcast, and
Late
it's all
evening.
dedicated to you. Mm-hmm. It's all dedicated to you fans who listened and then replied, and you looked in the show notes about ways to be heard on the show, because that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna hear you guys. We're listening.
We
We're
see
learning.
you.
We see you, and that's what's gonna happen tonight. Is we're gonna do all that stuff, and we're just gonna go through your feedback. The official weapon of the show is
A taser.
an unofficial sport,
Bullet ball.
a bullet ball extreme. All right, I'm feeling like I'm hearing a slight delay again, and
Okay,
now I'm
right, because
wondering.
you responded
But
slower.
we'll,
Yes, it might be another delay.
yeah, I'm wondering if I switch browsers if this will work.
Okay.
All right, let me pause this so that they won't have to listen to this later, and I'm gonna try to hop in a different browser and see if it works from over there,
Okay.
because this happens occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be right back.
No problem.
All right, here we go. All right, through the miracle of time travel. Hopefully, y'all didn't hear any of the disruption if you're listening to this later. But yeah, we're gonna do feedback, and we want to start by, of course, shouting out the people who took the time out of their busy lives to actually give us some money. You know,
Yep.
because you didn't have to do that, but
Y'all are
some
important. The real MVPs.
right. We need y'all to feel extra special. You know, uh, since y'all make us feel extra special with this money, and this money for just existing. It's not money for premium, where, like, you know, you're getting a bunch of shows. Not that we don't mind that. It's not money for just a tip. It's just money.
May I have your attention? You are now listening to Charlotte's Own, Rod and Karen. We welcome the good folks who tied to the Black Tiger Tips.
Oh yes, a new tomorrow, a new dollar. Let's talk about it. Chris from Hawaii, recurring donator. Cora the Tickler. April G. We appreciate you. Tabitha M. Alexis H. Marlon B. Yes, Marlon B. We got girl Tanya S. Wonga from Down Under. Dostra J. We got a one-time donation from Drew G. Thank you, Drew. We got, of course, Shirley Wong Esquire. Please always and forever say the Esquire. She earned that shit. Tiffany B. Lindsay B. No relation. Mr. Span from the Mr. Span podcast. I believe that's the new name. J4. Alfonso M. And lastly, Palmetto Stone Magic. Thank you so much, everybody. We appreciate y'all giving us money. We like to spend it. We like to have it. We like to hold it. And it always keeps us company. Thank you. This is the part they never get to in the white church. All right.
Oh no, never.
They wouldn't know what to do.
It's too jazzy, too upbeat.
They're just like, oh, we have 5-star reviews. You can leave them on Apple Podcasts, and we'll read them on the air as long as they're nice. It's that simple. And we got 3 new ones. Okay, 5-star TBGWT Signal. This is from Lil Sean John Wayne. That's a great name.
I like that.
That's like a 4 on nerds. It's like a 4 on nerds mashup there. I heard the 5-star review the Blackout Tip signal go out to TikTok Therapy Show, and I had to jump into action. This is the pod that saves the day every time. To get so much great content virtually every week is amazing. Best of its kind in the game. Thank you, Lil Sean John Wayne.
Thank you, baby.
Tam Bam 444 says all episodes. I love you guys. I've been listening for years out here in Houston by way of Florida.
Come on through, Houston.
It's a blessing to see you, Rod and Karen, flourish over the years. Keep up the great work as always. Keep on tipping. Well, since you from Texas, you know we not just gonna keep tipping. We're gonna be tipping on fofos. Okay.
Come on through, fofos.
Tam Bam 444. Maybe that's what the fofo is for. And lastly, this is from D Money. I don't know how they got this one through the algorithm. Okay.
Oh shit.
Because the title is, and I didn't know you could do this. Anti-Coon review.
Oh shit, Coon must not be on the list.
I mean, it seemed like
I thought it would have been flagged, but
he might one of the top ones.
Yeah, but apparently they ain't got woke enough to know that that's one that can slip through.
Apparently, until this moment, I thought Coon was one of them ones. But
one of the band list people. I left the review and y'all never heard it. Well, you put Coon in there, that's why.
Right.
But apparently Coon went through.
This is by D Money 331, who says, just another refresh. I love the both of you very much. Everything they do is amazing. 5 more stars. Just refreshing my review. Came for the joke, stayed for the love. 5 stars all around. David, it's time to give Rod and Karen their flowers. Damn it. Not only do these two lovely people embody the epitome of Black love and comedy, they also give great book recommendations. These two fine intellectuals have given me hours of entertainment and stimulating conversations. I wish Rod and Karen nothing but the best in all their endeavors. Thank you for all your hard work and dedication. Sincerely, David. Thank you, David.
Thank you. You mean Rod gives good book recommendations?
Well, sometimes you do because you do Audible. So you sometimes
okay, yeah. Now, if you an Audible person, I'm your person. I be using up all Roger points, honey. I've been listening to Trevor Noah. I've been listening to them all. Like, you want audio books? I'm the person because I love me a good audio book.
So of course we got to go through our episodes and the comments on the episodes, but y'all know what it is. This is a show where we trying to be Black capitalists. Okay, that's where we got this money from. So I got to play some songs here so that I know where to put the ad. All right. All right, here we go. Let's talk about these comments. Episode 2682, Negaholics. Appia says, I now have an opinion on the special without having seen it, so it's obviously the most valuable one. Chris seems to hate Jada for some reason, and somehow it's all her fault. I'm about 100% sure that both her and Will had affairs in their relationships. It's just that hers came out. Well, somehow she is the bad one and responsible for everything. I don't like that. I never heard about No Limit Records, so I looked it up. There is a Eurodance huge hit song from the 90s ties with a rap called No Limit. So the most results were that. Now it's in my head. What true words they say that might explain the expansion of the universe and everything. No, 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 no. There's no limit. I guess these are the lyrics. No, 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 no. A lot of no's. Then techno, techno. No, there's no limit. Well, shout out to Germany. Y'all tried. Appia also says now that I think about it, most of the Eurodance stars I saw on TV as a child were duos of a female black singer and a black male rapper. This was what sold best, even though that I'm sure the white producers made most of the money. Still, it was imprinted on my brain that artists should be female, male, black duo, and maybe that's why the Black Eyed Tips feel so right to me. Then she said, "Now I'm afraid what I said was racist. I'm sorry. I just see you as stars like the '90s told me to." I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't thinking it was racist until you said maybe it was, and now I'm like, was it racist? But I'm gonna be real. It didn't feel racist to me, but
me either. So,
but I also know I'm not the most sensitive nigga in the world, so I might not be the right barometer. But it didn't seem racist to me.
Same.
I think we've gone so far into certain shit, and it's fine. I want people to have some level of autonomy and agency, but I mean, it's okay that sometimes we don't all agree on shit, and a lot of the more sensitive microaggression level racism for me, it just don't hit me the same way it hit other people. It's just like, so because I think in my brain, if I'm being honest, that happens to me sometimes, and I don't think it's a bad thing. Like if I started associating Appia with some German shit that I was introduced to in my childhood because I don't have any other references, I wouldn't be like, and that's because I hate German people or I'm racist, So I wouldn't expect that necessarily for black people. It's kind of like people get mad whenever it's like a white person confuses two people of color with each other. And I normally don't get that mad about it because if I'm being honest, like I get the more like it's your job people, like it's your job to know Samuel Jackson is different than the Denzel Washington when you post the article. Like that's totally fine. Be mad about that.
Right.
But stuff where it's just like two black people might look alike or they might confuse them. I do that sometimes with people of different races too. I don't have all the. I'm not perfect, and I don't have all the. I don't do it on purpose. I don't have all the experiences and within a community to truly mark all the differences in everybody all the time. Sometimes, and plus, some motherfuckers look alike. Like all that to say, it doesn't bother me, but I didn't think it was racist. But that's just my opinion. There's other people listening right now that think I might as well be shucking and jiving. So who knows?
That's true. Yeah.
Ernest.com says thank you because you said a word about Master P and his little No Limit buddies. I was a DJ on the hip hop show on my college radio station, and people would not stop calling the request line and asking for all of them. I was low key mad that I knew who Kane and Abel were when you mentioned them. I'm not as dog tired of hearing them as I was at the time. Yeah, they just ran shit too. That was the other thing.
Yeah, they were particularly down south, they were everywhere.
Yeah, like I would just be in the other shit because I'm just that type of. Sometimes I'll be in the other shit. I've never begrudged the shakes joints. I never begrudged the like just the street anthem type shit. I've loved hip hop, period. But it was like sometimes the people that fuck with that wouldn't fuck with other shit, and it would be like an adversarial relationship. That's why if you go back and listen to 90s and 2000 hip hop, you're gonna hear a lot of black independent or black like not mainstream rappers complain about mainstream rap. It's not as bad as it was then, but it was pretty bad at the time where people was like openly taking shots at other groups. Like, hey man, fuck all shit. Half a De La Soul's collection that just got put up on social media. If you listen to half them songs, it's like, I'm sick of these hoes and these award shows and these rappers in their name brand clothes sipping on Cristal. And I remember the Roots had a whole video that never do what they do. The whole thing was picking on mainstream rap. So like, I say all that to say like, No Limit was mainstream at the time, and they was, and that just wasn't I was already a little predisposed to be like, yeah, I only like some of this mainstream shit, so they just overkilled it. But he says it's enough to make you say shout out to the chat room. Our old friend JL Covan says, I think this was the episode where you discussed your work on the racism Oscars on your show. My question is, how did you leave our boy Alan Tudyk out of the list for his work in 42? Or was that the fact that his entire dialogue was the hard R N word too much for even HBO? Okay, out to see Creed 3, or as I shall call it, Black Boy Steroid Joy.
Oh
We do love black men touching in pictures. Here's the thing. I did my first original version of this landed on Alan Tudyk's hard R 45-second rant in 42. And it was in there. It was what I wanted. But the video dude wanted to go with a different cut that was somebody being like insulting him, like, how long you gonna be a racist piece of shit? And he's just like, okay. It's a funny clip, but to me it don't hit the same as that rant. Now, right. I did bring that up a couple times throughout the process, but the clip never changed. And I think either it's above me or the people just decided like, yeah, it's just not going to be as funny if it's just this dude saying the N-word for an extended period. It's not just the N-word, but saying it before. So some people above me made that decision, but it never was the clip I wanted it to be in the first place. So it never hit as hard as it needed to. And then the other thing you need to know is Bo really hates that movie, The Blind Side. I've never seen it.
So, I've seen it.
Yeah. So he really felt strongly about, that Blind Side joke. Like it cracked him up. All 2 hours and 9 minutes of The Blind Side. And so that was in there, he basically confirmed it was in there. And, the other writers contributed and got it all there, helped get it all there. And I'm very proud of it just because there's ideas that, first of all, your idea is going to change. It's got to go through so many people. That's why it's hard to be like, you can't walk into this like, I'm the funniest motherfucker here. I don't need y'all, because it's just going to make you the asshole of the office. So you have to be like willing to let people have their input, let them know when to hold you back and all this shit, because half this shit ain't going to make the air, if not way more, where you have an idea and it just don't go nowhere. And then the other shit is the stuff you feel really strongly about, you better be fucking right. Like you can't be like I refuse.
If you're gonna advocate really hard for it, yeah.
Because you can also get so stuck in the weeds that you can't see what other people see. So you think something is hilarious. Like here's an example. In the room when they were like deciding what to do with the Boskers sketch, they had a point where they were like, should we change it to something else? Because people might see the racism thing coming from our show, and my thing was like, I'm never gonna fight for my shit in front of everybody, but I'm very much like, y'all are gonna see that I'm right, but let's go through, because I went through all this too. Let's go through the whole process. And so they, at one point, we're making each other laugh in the room, and they got to the point it was like, what if we make it animal sports movies, but it's still the racist Oscars? So now you're showing like the golden retriever in Air Bud and being like Earth and being like that was him being racist, right? Or whatever, or her.
That don't hit the same.
Because everybody don't know about the first sketch.
Right.
So unless we air the first Oscars one that the first one I came up with, it's too in the weeds. The audience just gonna be hella confused. It's like, are they saying that the animals are racist, or that there's racism in the movies?
And right, this could be an ongoing joke. So when you do it next season, you could do something like that, because people will get it from the first season,
possibly, yeah. So anyway, that was my point. But so all that stuff has to happen, and so yeah, my version of this that had, because y'all know I've told that joke on here a million times. My version that had him on it, just it never really got off the ground. But the idea got through, and I'm proud of that.
Yep.
All right. The poll. Oh, wait, let me see if there's any comments on YouTube. None for this episode. Okay, cool. The poll is, have you ever been to a live taping of a TV show? Karen?
Yes.
Okay. The results are 36% of people have and 63% haven't. That's much higher than I thought it would be. Like almost 40% of our audience that voted in this poll has been to a live taping of a TV show. Wow.
Yeah.
On Spotify. Okay.
And it's one of those things where kind of I'm talking about as a kid. I'm not gonna lie, you. I've always wanted to go on The Price is Right. Don't ask me why. I would be fucking terrible at it, but I just want to go sit in the audience to see the process of The Price is Right. I think that would be so much fun. But that's just me personally. That's one of my personal favorite, and I would love to sit in the audience for Family Feud. Those are like my two TV shows, just because they've been on forever, and it's one of those things where I'm a fan of them, and particularly with the Family Feud, because me and my mama would actually sit, particularly with Steve Harvey. I would love to see Steve Harvey on Family Feud. So me and my mama, when I go by there, that's one of the few things that come on, and me and her both watch it, and we just have a ball.
Of course, I've been to a live taping of TV show, but not until this. Like, I don't think I have been to one before. And on Spotify, 22% yes, 78% no. The Q&A for this one was how is they treating you? Because I was talking about how the black people that work around the CBS building always be pulling me to the side, giving me some
They
real
treating y'all right, brother?
yeah, rooting for us. Raphael says, see, they ain't treating me right, if you feel me. Won't buy my ice cream truck or approve powertrain agenda. There's nothing else to do, Sal. I just want to I'll just go sign up for a live tape in a game theory. Come on through. Even says, good enough. It's a holiday. Valerie says, fuck them. Wallace says, life is good, my nigga. And Rachel says, all right, treat me all right. I like her. She gave the real answer.
Okay.
And what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, we had a couple fans stop by the we had a couple fans stop by the taping. Like I think it was Madonna, Belinda. I forget their friends' name. She hadn't heard the podcast yet, but she was friends with them, and it made her come and check us out. Check out Game Theory, and she really enjoyed it. They all did. I met Canuck Duke and his wife.
You met Canuck Duke.
Yeah, I took a picture. I gotta post all these pictures on my Instagram at some point because I've been posting reels, which is videos of that just kind of mush them all together. But I'll go back and post some just straight up pictures so y'all can see all the people. But yeah, man, so fun. So thank y'all for coming out. It means a lot to not just me, but also Bo when people like come through, especially people that have been down since like the Morning Jones era. All right, let's go to the next one. Episode 2683, TikTok therapy. We had 3 comments. The first one's from Apia. If my therapist was on social media and talked critical about patients, it would absolutely hurt the relationship and make me less open.
Yes.
Yeah. That's another thing that there's just been a lot of double talk around the therapy thing because she's a black woman specifically, and the circles I'm in socially are very black woman centered or black femme adjacent. Like it's just the space I found myself in. It's the people that I vibe with, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that that gives you the biases of me and the biases of the people I follow. So sometimes they can be, in my opinion, they can either have blind spots or be very biased towards the idea of like, we need to protect the black woman. And I get that feeling because black women are normally unprotected. But sometimes to me, it's like when a person is doing something fucked up, it really shouldn't matter. What like we shouldn't be like, oh well, that's different. She's a black woman, so she can be fucked up.
Nope.
And I felt like this is one of those situations where most people would have said it was fucked up, but it was a black woman, and the people in my circle glom onto like, as a black woman, we gotta what can we do to justify it, even to go as far as to say it's right, not wrong. Like we have to say it's right because she did it. And I think this was a case where there were some lies happening where it's like, what you can't just say what your preference of patient is. You didn't express a preference. You expressed a not preference, the opposite of a preference, a discriminatory thing, and it's a negative thing you're putting out. You're gonna receive back negativity. You knew that it was the internet before you turned the phone at your face and put it out, and I'm not talking about obviously death threats and shit like that. Although
Mm-mm.
I didn't see that stuff, you just had to take her word for it that she experienced that, and we'll see. Maybe she did, maybe she didn't. But the point being, um, motherfuckers will say stuff like that. Like, well, a lot of practices don't see everybody. Yes, but they don't make a point of going out of their way to talk about who they don't see. They talk about who they do see. It's like
Yes.
it's like how the podcast is called therapy for black girls. It's not called not therapy for everybody else or therapy for like only black girl therapy. Like they it's a marketing thing, but it's also a vibe thing. No one's making you take care of any type of client. And so that's the difference. It's like if you did your TikTok, if you were a bakery and you expressed your hesitancy to make wedding cakes for gay people, that's not expressing a preference really. But people make the same argument, right, that defend that shit. Listen, the Christians should be able to have their rights. It's like no one's making you do anything, but you expressed a dislike for a type of person, a broad swath of people. Yeah, they probably took it. They're gonna take it personal, and
Yeah,
they're
and
gonna
they're gonna
feel
feel
hurt
this.
by it.
Right, and they're gonna feel a certain type of way, and they have a right to feel a certain type of way. And the thing is, just like anything else, freedom of speech. Yeah, you have the right to say it. The government is not coming and shutting you down, but you also have to deal with the consequences of your speech, and that's the part that people they throw up. Well, it's my right, blah blah blah, and that's the thing. Nobody's stopping you. So what the fuck are you talking about? People are
Yeah, and
stupid when
like
it comes to that.
couching the terms and like stuff like boundary to me is also a misnomer because it implies one that it's like a relationship situation, not a professional business situation. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm erecting a boundary. It's like the erecting a boundary is not. I'm not gonna take this type of client. That's different. A boundary is like this person overstepped, and I'm not gonna fuck with this person anymore. Or um in my personal life, I don't do blank. It's like this is your business. You have a private practice, but you're expressing something a little bit different in a boundary. Like a boundary is like I'm not gonna allow this person to call me after 10. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yes.
not. I would never take the like when you put it this way, when they bring up other groups they don't take, they go like, I don't do couples, I don't do families. We don't you don't express it as a boundary though, like you're dating them. You just go, I don't do those people. So this was different. I think people were being a little messy with the wording on purpose so that they could
They
fight each other, and I just didn't think it was worth all that.
they were. And also, you hit on a point, and as somebody who has been on the internet long enough and been around various different groups of people and have experience being on the receiving end of people that do just like me, other black women doing some fuck shit and using the black girl magic as an excuse to just do whatever the fuck they want to do without consequences, repercussions. As somebody who has personally dealt with that, it's one of those things where I go, no, 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 no. What we're not going to do is this.
Yeah.
You need to be held accountable and responsible for your actions too. And you're a black woman and I'm a black woman too. And the thing is, when black women call out black women, all of a sudden you can't pull out the same cards. You can't pull out the white card because I'm that white bitch. You can't pull out the man card because I'm not a man. I look just like you. And so I have the right to quote unquote hold you accountable. But when you're
Well, I
dealing
think
with people that don't want to be held accountable, that's a whole nother thing.
they would dismiss you and say you were a pick me. That's the one I've been seeing for any other black professional woman
Mhm.
who's like, yeah, that was not a professional thing for her to do. And
Right.
then they get called pick me's, or male identified as another. And so I see floating around like I don't know what you can tell people when it's like, so then basically there's no limit to just what you can do, because we
Right.
have to support the group we're in. But like I said, I don't want to rehash the whole fucking thing. We talked about it ad nauseum. I just want to say, like, yeah, I think um the perspective that Appy is bringing up is the one I went to, which is if I was the patient, I just don't feel like I'd be down with this.
Yeah, if I was the patient, you would never see me again. I don't
Mm,
care what we got. Nope. I'm not going. Don't let's just go ahead and sever this relationship.
right.
Because it is a functioning relationship that you have with each individual patient. And it's one of those things where I'm actually coming here for help. And you're taking my business and talking about it like that, like publicly like that. You are not helping me at all. You're
Yeah.
not helping me.
I don't want my shit used for clout.
Right.
Obvious says also as a white person, if you don't want white clients, it's your choice. It's okay, but why say it on social media? What is it good for besides giving some fuel to the people who think white people are under some attack? That's all I'm saying. And like the rest of us have to play stupid. Like that's not like we have to play stupid. Like she didn't put that out into an environment where she knew that would be the response and would
Right.
and like her, she hasn't been engaging and going back and forth with these people. And honestly, like the main thing I kept thinking was if she was a therapist for me and I'm working through like some trauma resolution type shit, some tools I would look online and be like, she don't have them either. And I need to go somewhere else to somebody that actually do got them. And that
Right.
wouldn't be just because I'm a black man. It would be if I was anybody. Because it's just like I'm trying to learn not to be doing this kind of shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you have to know peace and experience peace before you can really understand what it looks like. Because I think a lot of people think they're at peace with all this fussing and fighting all these random strangers on the internet. And I just don't identify with that anymore.
Now I don't. Me personally, I don't identify that as peace because
Yeah,
and what's even fucked up. What happened if you go into this therapist and you talking about the therapist and you seen the therapist doing the damn same shit they telling you not to do?
that's what I'm
So you
saying.
like the
Yeah,
fuck.
yeah, that's what I
Like
just
and
said.
it's very frustrating, and it's one of those things where I could see a decline in patience, like you were talking about before. I could see a lot of people who actually see her because guess what, they know your face, they know your name, they know your practice, they might never say anything to you, but all of a sudden you get less and less patience because the average patient who's coming to therapy and for a lot of people it took everything fucking in them to make the phone call to tap the click button, like it took everything in them just to even reach out to start the process. And they see this is not good.
Yeah, and even if this isn't your therapist, I bet there's just a lot of people who are turned off by this that aren't going to get help because they like it's like if you're doing it for the reasons you're saying you're doing it about how you want to normalize therapy and shit, this ain't helping. This is not the opposite of that. In my opinion, is
Agreed.
stigmatizing the type of person to say basically, you know, don't nobody want to help your ass. Um, Also as a white person, if you don't want the white client, oh yeah, she said that. All right, boom. Ramsey D. Jenkins says, I give 5 stars for the episode. I agree with Appia. Nobody needs to know the type of client you choose not to work with / take. Yeah, I just don't get what happened to just telling a friend.
What happened to the group chat? What happened to just talking
Yeah.
to somebody in person and calling it a day?
You said you're going online helping this. Well, not you said, but people
Mm-hmm.
do that stuff with TikTok supposedly to help their own private, like their social media, their brand. Like this is a bad look because, and you can almost tell when it's a bad look for you because it's like you never see an actual professional brand let this type of content happen. Like you're never gonna see like 1-800 talk therapy be like put out an ad where they like I would never have a black man client because everybody be like this is the most racist stupid shit I ever heard. But when someone individualizes it, we're like this is her flexing her power. It's like I don't think so. It just seemed like a bad business decision.
Yes, it does. Just do what you're gonna do, and just nobody has to know. Nobody really cares
Yeah.
until you make it public.
Saying like Agnes says, psychologists and even clients doing this should pay a heavy price for this. Like, bruh, I'd be fucking pissed if my psychologist did this. Absolutely unforgivable. You endanger me, my issues, or by extension, the integrity of your profession, causing people who hide their pain to then eternalize years and decades of trauma. Not everything needs to be content. Even if black men may have been fucked up to you, I feel sorry for her. You put a target on every other black man who didn't give you shit. Yeah, man. It's once you throw the like we're in a bad place, and maybe we've always been, but social media is just a place where we can almost track it. But we're in a bad place where anything bad people say about a black woman, there's certain black men who are going to glom onto it and push
Mm-hmm.
and push and push. And it doesn't really matter if it makes any fucking sense. They can't help themselves. They going to do it. And we got certain shit that if it's bad about a black man and you say it, people going to push and push and push. And there's nothing you can say to those people either on that side, whether they be women, films, whatever. They their experience has informed them either A through life and they just believe every negative thing, or it's informed them enough to where it's like the group dynamics are too strong. I get too much push pull and too much dopamine from interacting based off of these topics every time. And I think it does kind of lessen the worth and the sting and the what else? It lessens a lot of the importance of real critique when we couch shit like that's either personal, our own traumas or something like that in this like macro level speak of like I'm speaking for the race. It really just lowers the amount of time that people are like, yeah, I'm just not listening to shit no more. And I do think there's, and it makes sense. People run in cycles. I think you're starting to see a decline and a pushback to shit that even 5 years ago, people were like, hey, this is cutting edge black feminist thought. And now you're seeing people do the like, here go these black feminists again. And they're starting to win over people that were either on the fence or these people who were like knee deep in black feminism stuff. But the social movement online of black feminism, or what, not even black feminism, but what people call a lot of black activism, the social part of it is really losing momentum to some extent because people are like, they've now seen the downside, they've seen the negative side of the stuff that they had experienced 5 years ago. And now you know why Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson are some real ones, because there's a lot of motherfuckers that couldn't even maintain 5 years of internet activism without burning everybody the fuck out or not popping up at all. They still killing black people in the streets, and you don't see people popping up no more because it's
not
a lot
like
more
you used
work
to.
now.
Right. And that's like you said, after a while, the sheen, the shine, the newness is gonna wear out. And guess what? If you do it long enough, guess what you're gonna be? You're gonna be the old nigga, and it's gonna be somebody else popping up talking about how you ain't doing it right.
Yeah, a lot of people quit before then. It's like as
Correct.
soon as they get critiqued a few times, they out, because it's hard. But the main thing is this shit right here. I think it does lower. It's lowering the bar. Like us making a public debate out of every time Russell and Sierra leave their house, it just lowers the bar of what is actual critical thought and real. Because we don't. It's not like we have some new shit to say. It's that those people who engage in those debates, and I mean on both sides, they actually like interacting with each other.
Yes, they do. Yes, they
Like
do. It's a
subconsciously,
dopamine hit on both sides.
because anyone from afar would look and go, one side of this is completely fucking stupid, and you would just be able to call balls and strikes and be honest with yourself. Like, you know what, you're right. Why? Something inside of me wakes up every morning hoping that a motherfucker has something to say about Sierra, so I can hop on their page or hop on my page or go back and forth in the comments, as opposed to being like, why would I ever? This person is so fucking wrong. It's so overstepping the bounds. Why would I ever engage with them?
Yeah, because
But
that
you know,
requires internal looking and then turning the mirror, and people don't want to do that. I've just come to the conclusion that, oh, people don't want to do work, and I just go about my business.
and of course it applies other ways too. I feel the same way when I see people that are so pro Beyonce they hate Jay-Z. I'm like,
Right.
how long are you gonna do this, and who are you really doing it for? Because
Agreed.
it's not like you have some effect over her life. So clearly this is a weird, like, you're signaling for some company on this, whether you want to argue with people or what, I don't know. But it's kind of fucking weird, anyway. You want us to be more open, yet then to stigmatize us. I guess then stigmatize us. The fuck is that really? What's the point of having all these avenues if you're going to use these platforms to then use context-free, draining platforms only meant to exploit and make up shit because your feelings are hurt? A reason why I needed a therapist is because I went through a breakup and people were worried about me, and the shit I dealt with for 35 years of my life runs the gamut: autism, romantic relationships, family trouble, depression, anxiety, etc. Been in therapy for 14 plus years. I'm a better person for her. She's been good to me and I've been good to her. However, I keep that shit to myself or with friends or family who know me, not a platform laughing about one's trauma or fucked up childhood. Mistrust is at an all-time high worldwide. That's a great point. Practically for this reason, and again, said it regarding Big Groove a couple weeks ago, and I'll say it here again. I don't trust these woe is me niggas to be mature about this. I don't, never will. I shouldn't take this up personal, but I do, because I met and chatted with these people, and their consistency is about as stable as a fake ass leftist on Twitter espousing virtues of what being a liberal is. It's a crock of shit because they're sanctimonious. A person who's not in the field using their platform to talk about otherwise private session with their shrink is already fucked up. Professional psychologists, oh nigga, we might be in a grappling contest, especially in this climate. You shouldn't do this as a job. Then you shouldn't play with people's heads like that. There's a reason when people who deal with, say, suicidal ideation call 911. Help is pretty much above the psychologist, and there are other people who can help you cope. You don't use your high esteemed role to the then blasphemy me wait, you don't use your high esteemed role to the then blaspheme me because some nigga fuck with you, or worse, you're just stereotyping for clout. Both choices suck. As far as I'm concerned, help people, give them info on how to better cope with his, her, or their pain, not how you won't talk to a certain group of people because of either narrative or whatever. Get some help. Then every group is fucked up regardless of race. Get them the tools to help yourself in the process. If you can't do these two things, get the fuck out and find your job that you're comfortable doing. This internet shit is killing people. Sick of it. Peace. Yeah, my thing is actually like, even if you don't want a certain type of client, just don't take that client. It's literally there was never a good reason to express that, in my opinion.
Not
like every good reason is trumped by a equally like a bad reason on why the response would rightfully be negative towards you. I just don't get it. It's just like, on a fundamental level, I feel like we probably can't all agree on everything involving this woman. She said a lot of shit, but I think we can agree like that is unprofessional. And I think if you can't even say that, you're just so fucking biased at that point. There's literally nothing she could have done. To which I'm like, I'm never gonna be in anyone's bag or camp that much unless I completely know it. Like, the only time you're gonna hear me say some shit like that is because I'm like, yes, I know I love this person that much. They can't do no wrong. And normally when I feel that way, I'll be like, I don't have a comment to say.
Right. No comment. I'm not. What the fuck you talking to me for? I'm biased. Don't talk to me.
Right. All right. Let's check the YouTube. This had a lot of comments. Some people wrote emails, but the comments are so long. It's like a chapter of a book. I don't know if I can read them all. I mean, it was just a, but
y'all can email the show to blackguywhotips@gmail.com.
They did. That's what I'm saying. We got some emails coming up. I've pre-seen.
I see what you.
And they're so long. I honestly don't know if we can read them. They're that long.
You see I'm with you now.
Good comments, but
I thought you were saying you had comments on YouTube that was that long. I was like,
no, these are short. Frank says, "Bra man had come by the apartment to make sandwiches." I think he's talking about when I accidentally kicked my power out. Leonard brother says, "Yo, if any of that Will Smith shit is true, that man is bugging out. That's crazy." He also said Leonard outs is hilarious, so him opening for Janelle is dope. Shannon says these therapists should lose their license. This undermines the entire profession.
Right? It don't make sense.
Yeah, I think it was also weird how like people that were licensed therapists were kind of taunting at the idea of like, ha ha ha, y'all don't know we can do shit like this and get away with it. They can't take her license. And what I kept thinking was, don't tell me you're here to help people. That sounds like a weird brag. That doesn't sound like you're actually talking about people as human beings. Like, you're still involved, you're still in that gender war shit because you think it's like a notch on your belt. Like, haha, we won today. You can't get her fired. And it's like, that shouldn't even really be the point. You can still be like, I don't think she should get fired, but this wasn't professional. Like, it was like it wasn't even about being professional. It was, could she get away with it? And I'm like, that's like saying, well, a nurse can get away with doing a Running Man during your surgery and posting it to a TikTok. That don't make it good when you wake up, hopefully, and see that they was doing that during your operation. You don't have to feel good about it. You can be like, fuck that person.
Correct. And it's also one of the things too, where if I was a patient on these people that's going, I'm leaving you too. You're not mature either. The fuck, like, everybody's going to end up losing patience.
And then the poll was, do your coworkers follow your social media accounts? 28% yes, 72% no. And on Spotify, same percentage, like 27-73, 1% difference. And then the Q&A was, Google your therapist and see if they're using you for TikToks. Rachel said, seems highly unethical for them to do that. An old therapist told me that if he saw me in public, he would most likely not even acknowledge me. Damn, am I that fucked up? Just kidding. But I did respect that. My therapist told me that too. She told me it was up to me. She's like,
Right,
some
because
people
some
don't
people feel
want it.
certain ways. Some people,
Yeah,
yeah, they won't act like y'all strangers, and then some people will actually acknowledge you, right?
right.
And that makes sense. They leave it up to you. They're probably cool either way, right?
Kadian says TikTok tried to make me follow my therapist, and it was immediate. No, ooh, because they know who in your phone. Oh no, man. Nah, see the algorithm. I don't need to know that. I don't need to know that. She wasn't even using her name. It was her photo, but I don't have her photo stored in my contacts. It was very weird. Yeah, it knows some shit from your
Yeah,
contacts.
locations is something. It's something that is linking up, right?
Because mine found like a dude I play ball with that's a chef, and it would show me his TikToks about being a chef and his motivational TikToks and stuff. And it was just like, damn, I didn't put his name in there. I didn't even know he had a TikTok.
Or proximity,
Aaron,
proximity phones. Who knows?
Aaron says
Hmm.
she's not. Thank goodness. Yeah, I just don't know why. I mean, listen, I've heard the other side of this ad nauseum. This is one of those times where I just don't agree with it. I just don't see how people think it's cool to do what she did. And really do believe in my heart of hearts, if another type of person that was not a black woman did this shit,
All these people would do a
a lot of people
360. They
would
would be
feel
on the
differently.
other side. They would be
Yeah,
saying, "How dare you? What's wrong with you? This is unprofessional." My
yeah,
thing, if it's unprofessional for her, for them, it's unprofessional for her also. And it's one
right.
of those people, one of the times where you doing this shit and you gonna fuck around and somebody gonna come in there for a session and tables are gonna be shaking because they're gonna be like, "The fuck is wrong with you? You don't know."
Yep. Last one is 2684. Goodbye diversity. We had Appia who said put a sick beat under that Maui song and it's a Euro dance track. She also says Hugh Grant was on the red carpet and wanted to feel above it. So why did he walk it? Ashley Graham is of German and English heritage. Yeah, because I thought she might have been a Latina. I was wrong. My girl Nick Jew corrected me. And yeah, I guess I just forgot. Or maybe I might have got because I remember a controversy on social media a few years back that she was on the cover of Latina magazine or something. And now thinking about
Mm,
it, because I went to Google to see if that was ever a thing. I didn't see any pictures of it. I didn't see anything like that. And it makes me wonder if someone, because at a time it was cool to hate her.
right,
And it made me wonder if someone specifically made that image and got us all fighting about it. And then you find out that's not even real.
right.
Because I definitely remember the image in my head of like in a debate on social media about it, but it must have
Yeah,
been fake or something.
all right. That's why I didn't think she was white. All jokes aside.
Yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
I think that we may even cover it on the podcast or something.
Mm-hmm.
It just seemed it was a long time ago, and I vaguely remember it, but it was like a huge fucking like she's not even Latina or whatever, and I'm like, she not? Are they trying to say she passing? And now I know, you know. Anyway, she says she might have the same condition as your friend Appia. The appearance doesn't fit the heritage. I'm pretty much Eastern European and some other DNA looking Greek or Spanish. Ramsey D says 5 stars for Layla Cat remix and the entire episode. Meow, meow, meow.
Oh,
Sandler says, only thing I have to add about this year's Oscars, I'm glad Andrea Riseborough didn't get an award for her performance in To Leslie. They wasted a grassroots campaign for that. The film was okay, but Riseborough and even Mark Maron had done better films prior. Okay. I do want to add something, but yeah, while I don't think Jamie Lee Curtis didn't deserve the award for Everything Everywhere All at Once, considering the same award show doesn't acknowledge horror comedies or the same level of dramas or some high art flick that does jazz hands, I do get it. It's her first nomination and her first victory. I felt bad for Angela Bassett, who gave it her all in Wakanda Forever and then some, but that's the weird about these award shows. I guess I too stayed away from much of the conversations about it. I haven't watched these since 2015. Stephanie Shu was better than JLC in my opinion, but again, I guess it's never truly the best actor / actress / director film or cinematography that gets these. It's who we like over who's truly the best. Some Oscar voters are still doing their racist takes. Superhero films don't deserve notoriety, etc. Sanctimony
mm-hmm.
gone sanctimony. On the bright side, been getting my I guess something to Larry Sanders, which felt like an achievement because that show rules. Never watched it before, and wow, good shit. Take care. Um, here's the thing I will say about the Oscars, and I'm realizing this now. but especially after listening to Righteous Prick this year, where he talked about the Oscars. Um, uh, the thing I'm realizing is that for race nerds, whether they know they're race nerds or not, for race nerds, the Oscars is also a type of entertainment, even knowing it will disappoint you, let you down, or whatever. But when you extrapolate out the rate, when you start trying to figure out the reasoning for who wins and why, it is one of those things that people who are fixated or know a lot about race, it begs the question, and you want to find these macro narratives to go over these decisions. The truth of the matter is, the way most of us discuss the Oscars is wrong. We think and create narratives that are like a one person, like a guy named Oscar decided, as opposed to a body of voters. And then we assume certain things and attribute a certain amount of organization and power to them, when what I think is happening is the same thing Kendrick Perkins says happened with MVP voting, where there's just bias at play. And it's never like, it's not conscious bias, but enough people are vocally or adamantly united without individually being united. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
they're united under their belief system, but not necessarily the actions and the communication. So I think that's what happens. I think years like this is just like, we're never giving a Marvel film an award, but they didn't have a discussion. They didn't like hit each other up. They just all were like, well, it can't be Angela Bassett. We like Jamie Lee. She ain't never won before. She's getting up there. She's 64. So is Angela Bassett. And we're gonna give it to her because blah blah blah. Like, I really think is that the math is that simple for them sometimes. And even and we buy into it because when a black person does win, who's the first people to start writing narratives about it? It's black people normally. You know, like when what is her name? The woman from Abbott Elementary that plays the older black teacher. Why can't I block? Why am I drawing a fucking blank? Oh my god.
Shirley Ralph.
Yeah, Shirley Ralph. God damn. Ooh. When Shirley Ralph won, how many black publications started printing out like this is basically a career achievement for her. She's been acting since this long, right? So I think people can't help but think like that. Like, if this person won, what would it mean on a bigger scale? And some of that doesn't even require watching the fucking movie, is my point. It's not, that's the thing, is people discuss it like it's a merit award when someone they want to win wins. When it's the other way, all of a sudden it becomes every narrative besides that. Because they didn't deserve it, so then why did they win? Oh, because it's a white person. Oh, because it's a man. And in many cases, people flip. This is the one time that apparently being a fucking diverse person is helpful, right? A black person wins the Oscars, all of a sudden they just wanted to give the diversity something. Clearly, it couldn't have been the best movie because it's black. You know, it's like you can never win. So yeah, I think that's what happens. There's a lot of discussion around that because people are obsessed about that.
Agreed.
Yeah, and this is the one place that I'm not. Like, this is the one place where they broke me a long time ago, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't care. I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna watch. I'm not interested. I know what I liked, and that's
what I didn't like, and a lot of things based off the things that I saw, because nobody watches everything. And like you said, a lot of people, they watch their shit and they go fuck the other shit, even if the other shit may be better. My bad.
Shit. You okay?
Yeah, my phone fell.
Okay. On YouTube it says Tipsy with Fee says, I definitely do a temperature check with my son on how he feels about me in our relationship. I ask him straight up, how do you feel about me as your mom? I watch way too many true crime documentaries to let hurt feelings go unchecked. This Negro is not gonna kill me in my sleep because I did something when he was 6. LOL, love you guys. Oh,
you ain't gonna take me out because you mad at me. Let's talk about it. How you feeling? Let me check on you. Let me check the temperature of the room.
I see I'm not the only one that watches For My Man and Fatal Attraction. Karen, I think you have a food delivery at the door. Do you want to go get it? I can vamp for a while.
Okay, I'll be right back.
All right. So yeah, I watch. Listen, I watch Fatal Attraction. I watch For My Man, and all that troop snapped. And you know, a lot of times, man, some little killer kids out here. You gotta be careful. Y'all know if y'all raising a little killer kid. I don't, you know, y'all know the signs, cat's heads in the duffel bag or whatever the fuck, or you know, y'all you know, all the Barbie dolls got their clothes off and they burning them, whatever it is. Y'all know what it is, and you gotta watch out for that shit. Like I feel like if they got them angry tendencies, you know, you got to start checking in with them. And a lot of times, I'm like, I remember I had a coworker, and I knew he would be the dude to shoot up the job if we were gonna get the shot up as a job. And most of y'all probably already know who y'all's is too. I knew who that man was. I said he would shoot us all. And I was extra friendly to that man. Okay, we was communicating all the time. We was the coolest people in the. I said, hey, if you got my phone number, if you ever need anything, and all I kept thinking was he got my phone number because maybe he might on a whim text me from the parking lot and go, Rod, don't come in today.
Today is
You
the
know,
day.
and that's all I need. I promise I wouldn't even tell nobody else. I just let them die. So so if you got that. And that man was somebody's friend and somebody's
Right.
son. And the people that raised him, they knew. And they didn't check in, is what I'm saying. You gotta check in if they got that school shooter energy, you gotta check in, dog. That's what it is. I'm just trying to help y'all live. So I'm really impressed with your parenting, because that's really what it's all about. I don't read too many sword ratchetness stories that's son against mother for us to even pretend like we didn't make it. All right, the poll was, should Angela Bassett have clapped for Jamie Lee Curtis? 18% yes, 82% no. And I made sure not to leave it like it's up to her. I don't know. I wanted y'all to pick. And then on Spotify, 22%, so a little higher, yes, 78% no. But most of the people saying no, she shouldn't have clapped for her. You know,
Yeah, she won't do. Yeah, she wasn't obligated to. Mm-mm.
yeah, I'm
They
not gonna
show
lie.
other clips of people not clapping.
I won't lie. I would have clapped. But that's just me.
Right, that's the same.
That's the kind of person I am. And on one hand, I kind of respect that she just was like, nah, I'm gonna keep it real for a second. This is fucked up. And on the other hand, I know that I don't have it in me. I would have been like, yay, but inside I would be like, man, fuck that bitch. All right, here's the Q&A. Boneless wings or chicken nuggets? Creasy says, other cocktails that sound racist: Negroni, White Lady, White Russian, Black Russian. Agreed. Another one that sounds racist: Arnold Palmer. I'm not saying he was, just saying it sounds that way.
Oh, the palms are delicious.
Rachel says, I don't. Another one that sounds sounds white: Tom Collins. Rachel
Yes,
says,
that definitely sounds white. I mean, the first time I heard that, I thought it was white man.
Rachel says, I don't fuck with boneless wings. Also, Angela acted her sweet chocolate heart out. Everybody in that room know this was a legacy win for Jamie. Let her be mad in peace. We all know what's up. Yeah. And I felt bad because I do think people took it too far on Jamie Lee Curtis. But it's just what people do, and they're angry, and so they just, they're gonna start roasting her and trying to form like a hate community against her. But it's just like, man, it's kind of fucked up to take pictures of her and zoom in and be like, look at her, then look at Angela Bassett. It's like, what are we trying to prove with that? That
Right.
we also measure women by their looks and not their, and how, it just there's nothing good to be mined out of this. It's
At
just
all.
ick. It's one of the reasons I don't watch. It's just ick all around. Because a lot of times, man, narratively and just in your life, like, it's a win for those people. They've been fighting their whole lives too. It's not their fault that they may benefit from some shit that they shouldn't have, but like, you do your best work and you hope that it gets nominated. And that part was a thin part, but Jamie Lee did do a good job in the movie. I didn't
She did.
leave the movie and go, God damn, that she was terrible. So like, it just sucks. It just fucking sucks. She didn't even make that decision. She don't even get to make the decision to be nominated.
Right. She didn't
Like
even vote in it.
it's just fucking. It just fucking sucks. You know.
Mhm.
Ralph says I went with number 4, Miss Bassett, because I agree with your take. While I feel like I would have clapped, I can't say if I would if I was in her shoes. I'll go eat some Arby's, then Sue, pray for me. Roger says they show Liz. And Nelson says facts be. Yeah, biggest marketing spend ever. They nothing but big ass nuggets for adults. They dumb, I know. Shabe says, or Shabe says, chicken tenders all the way. They are good. They are good. And Keenan says, true. I just prefer bone in. Probably the ancestors' fault. I don't mind bone in. They not bad. Bone in. If I had to pick between wings, bone in is obviously my wing that I want to go to.
My nigga, that's what that and put like this. I just stopped. That's what I got. Some bone in wings.
I'm glad you did.
I sure did. We was talking
All
about
right.
chicken on Three Guys On. Shout out to 3GO.
I guess I'm gonna get some chicken later on.
Chicken, 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 chicken.
Let's get to the voicemails. All right, voicemail time. The first one is from Jen from Brooklyn, who left 2 voicemails.
Okay.
Hey, Rod and Karen, it's Jen. I just listened to the feedback episode, and Rod, what you said about I think we're outgrowing stand-up comedy really struck a nerve with me. I was like, yes, because I also really love stand-up comedy and have for a while, and that's not the average experience. You know, like I used to watch Comic View was huge for me. I used to watch The Daily Show, and that was like a big no. Comic View and The Daily Show were both big no-nos for like, definitely my parents had to be asleep and we were sneaking downstairs type thing. And then obviously then growing up, like I used to obviously download a lot of stuff on like LimeWire, in terms of music, but I used to download comedy albums too because I didn't have enough money to go out and like buy albums. And so I remember I used to listen to Jim Brewer a lot and watch his stand-up and just watch specials on Comedy Central in general. And I used to even like, I don't know if y'all remember Pablo Francisco, who I don't think, I mean, I gotta look him up. I don't know if he's doing well because he was on the way out. But like just me and my brother used to bond over stand-up comedy. And then, you know, I like grew up in North Carolina, so I didn't actually go out and see comedy until after college because I wasn't really like, I was like 17 when I was still living in North Carolina. So I didn't get to actually go out and see folks until a little bit older, like, you know, after I was like 21 and whatnot. And living in New York for 10 years, like you could go to Midtown and they would just be like stand-up comedy show and you could go see like pretty big acts for like 10, 20 bucks. I remember I went and saw a random comedy show and like Godfrey ended up closing out the night, and that kind of stuff I'm sure you know happens all the time. So like, you know, with people watching, everybody at large watching Chris Rock, they're not even like you said, comedy fans. Like y'all aren't really sitting around.
She got cut off, but coming right back.
Okay, go ahead.
Y'all already know I got cut off.
I'm sorry. Wait, Karen, would you rather comment now?
Oh yeah. If you don't mind.
Yeah.
In addition to what she was saying, how people have outgrown comedy, that's true. And all jokes aside, like I said, this was so big. You had a lot of people who don't have a funny bone in their body making comments and actually treating this like this was the thesis, you know, or paper report versus treating it like comedy. And also, people like me and you, we watch comedians, but we also watch a lot of sketch comedy too. Like, you know, your Mad TVs, you know, like, you know, so we watch like comedy in various different forms, not always a comedy with the microphone in their hand telling the yucks. Right. So, you know, for us, we'd go, oh yeah, we like comedy because we like these various different ways of things that make us laugh. And like, it's a lot of things that, you know, we consume that make us laugh that a lot of people could consider cringe-worthy comedy. Like, who is it? What's that show you like? Dun, 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 dun.
Curb Your
Yes,
Enthusiasm.
yes. The thing, and I'm not hadn't got all caught up in Curb, but the thing I like about Curb is that it's that cringe-worthy comedy. It's that comedy where situations happen and that fucked up situations that will make most people feel uncomfortable, but the shit is just funny,
Yeah.
you know. And so I think for a lot of people, they never watch sketch comedy. They wasn't into sketch comedy. Even they didn't even watch all that, none of that. They was just comedy, just was not their thing. Or a lot of people, not trying to be fun, they capped comedy off at cartoons, like they Scooby Doo and shit like that. Like they never their comedy, their level of comedy never matures, if that makes sense. Like they go, this is what I consider comedy. Comedy is for kids. I don't think this shit is funny. And they look at everything through that particular lens, and or they were raised in households that didn't laugh a lot like I was. And so, but they never had anybody come around them to actually make them understand comedy and how comedy works and kind of relax on that front. And so you have adults who never had a funny bone in their body critiquing some shit that they have no business critiquing. And actually, you got to dismiss what they're saying, because it's like, well, dog, your opinion don't matter on this because this literally is not your lane.
Yeah, sometimes the cringe is the comedy, and sometimes there's just an element of cringe that's supposed to be in the comedy, and it's on purpose. What happens is people start treating it like it was like they discovered something, like it was happenstance. Like, oh, I found out that this thing is cringy, or I found out. And then the other thing that happens is we grow and we change, and then we start judging the comedy by shit that we thought was funny at the time. You know, it's like, oh, I would never do such and such, you know. And it's like, yeah, but you did. You laughed at it. You thought it was funny back then. You know, it's like whenever one of the critiques leveled at Rock is that he's a misogynist. And I'm never gonna back down on this. He always was. He's probably less misogynistic now than he was when he first came out, but he always was. He never slid it past us and we didn't notice. We just thought it was funny to make those jokes at the time. And then, and in addition to always being one, most of the comedic world, men and women, have some very misogynistic elements to just the stand-up culture and what happens in those rooms, the jokes they make. Even the ones that are like pro woman sometimes are knocking a different type of woman and stuff. Like it's you know, it's just the difference is that we used to have an understanding that this is a room where experimental thought takes place, where boundaries are pushed, and we don't have to always like it, consent to it. You won't always get popular or famous off of it. Sometimes people just don't fuck with you, but at the end of the day, there were always some people whose thing was they go beyond the line, and enough people like it and are fans of it that as long as it's well crafted, it's allowed to stand.
Right.
You know, and I just think we don't see that part anymore. Now people are like, it doesn't matter if it's well crafted. At least on the internet, they're like that, and it's a disconnection from reality, because obviously these people are millionaires and fucking selling out.
They touring all around the world,
so
right?
It's a disconnect from, like, the online culture is this person was never shit, and the offline culture is this motherfucker just did a tour and sold out every venue. So somebody lying. All right. Let me play the second part.
But I was saying, yeah, y'all aren't really sitting around to watch specials on a regular basis, and like to this day, I think my favorite podcast, and probably why I like y'all's podcast so much, is that you have a lot of comedians on. Another one of my favorite podcasts is a podcast called Couples Therapy with my favorite comedian, Naomi Ekperigin, who just did the stand-up special that Comedy Central does, where they give everybody, I think, like half an hour, and that was really great. But I think people who like stand-up comedy and go see it in real life and watch specials regularly, like, you already know, if you go out to a comedy show, it's going to be maybe 6-7 acts, and you might like one or two. And even of those two, like, people are trying out new material. You're hearing stuff that may not work, that they're like using you as a gauge to see if it'll work. And I'm the kind of person, I'm probably going to laugh anyway, because there's a lot of energy in a room.
Right.
So yeah, you just really like reminded me of how much I love stand-up comedy, and like probably why I gravitate towards your podcast, among a lot of other reasons. And I just I'm in LA now, so I went to the Comedy Store for the first time a couple weekends ago, because, you know, with COVID and everything, I moved here in the middle of COVID. So I hadn't really been out like that, and I'm starting to go to shows and everything again. And I went to the Comedy Store, and it was the same thing. Like, some people really cracked me up, and then some people, like, you know, it was kind of dead, and the audience was feeling that. Some people really good crowd work, and it's just like, there's like such an art, and it is such a different art form. So I thank you for like kind of bringing that to light, of like, there's like a huge portion of the media that's watching Chris Rock that doesn't even do this regularly, and they don't really know how to absorb that media.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was cool. I really liked y'all's analysis of that, and your like level-headed analysis of the whole event, you know, from last year to now. So thanks y'all, and hope you have a good week.
Yeah, you made me think of two more things. One, Comic View. Comic used to be, I'm not Comic View. Comics. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. It's three things. One, Comic View was after it got redundant and they just started chopping up and editing things, some of it old material. It actually taught me how to deconstruct a joke. Because they would show the setup, then they would show like the middle, and then they would show the punchline, and they would slice in different comedians. Now it also proved that a lot of jokes are the same or similar. The setups and a lot of black comedy was the same shit over and over, but some people were able to make us stand out by, you know, zagging with other people zigged and shit. But the point being, shout out to Comic View, taught me how to break down a joke. Two, comedy used to be an event, stand up like this. This what's happening is that Chris Rock was proof that he was funny. He was proof that he was box office. He was proof that he was a big deal. People say, why did he do it live? Part of why he did it live was to show he ain't like these other niggas. Like, he ain't just somebody. So this whole, yeah, he a has been, or he ain't been funny forever. Well, guess what? You tuned in live or you watched it later. And he's one of the handful of people on the planet that could do that could shut it down like that. They had everybody online talking about it. That's why they paid him the $40 million, because it ain't but so many motherfuckers that can do that shit.
Right.
So that was one of the things I think that we used to have, that because it used to go through like the gatekeepers, and it'd be like, HBO only gonna have 2 to 4 live Saturday comic, like stand-up comedy events, you know, or even if it wasn't live, it's the first time everyone was seeing it live. They used to only do that a couple times a year. So of course everyone remembers seeing Eddie Murphy Raw. It was a fucking event. Comedy hadn't been an event like that since really maybe a little bit after Killing Them Softly, because I feel like Killing Them Softly was an event to me as a super duper Chappelle fan, but his next one was the event to most people, because Killing Them Softly was their true introduction to this nigga's a goddamn beast. He's something different. And so then it was the next one that he did in San Fran, I think, that had everybody like too, and it was after the Chappelle show. But anyway, my point being, we lost that because we have 27 fucking streaming services and they're all buying stand up, but none of them truly commit to stand up. They just have it as a thing to have. And lastly, viewers are the content now. And you just can't separate this from none of that. Like, what I think about the special is content for me on this podcast. And it's just part of the formula now. Now, some people do it in good faith and they're like, this is what I think. I'm not trying to be salacious. I'm going to keep it real. But there's a ton of people that are like, man, I want to get the clicks. And the clicks are taking each joke out of context, acting like he gave a TED talk, it wasn't stand up, and then just telling you how he's a bad person when the whole half the stand up is I'm a bad person. You know, like, it's like my joke is I'm a bad person. I'm trying to get you on my side. I go a little too far. That's my joke. That's my personality. And people are like, can you believe he went too far? It's like, no, I can believe it. It's not an accident. It's what he got paid to do. And then his job is to try to make that funny. You don't have to agree that it was funny, but let's not act like you caught him on a hot mic.
Agreed. And also, I think for me, and it might just be my age, when I go to a comedy show, for me personally, particularly live, it's an event for me. You know, like when I went to go see Janelle James, it was an event for me. I was like, yes, let's go. Let's see her live. Let's go have a good time type of thing. Because there's so many other things you could be doing with your time. So for somebody to actually take the time to leave their house, particularly if you don't live places like New York where it's a comedy club on every other corner, it's an event to actually go to these comedy clubs because they normally aren't near people. You got to literally get out your car and drive and all that shit. Like, it is an event. So for me, comedy is still an event, but that's just me. And also for me, I am one of those people where even if a comedian is okay to good to terrible, I will still be there and I will still engage and I will still laugh. So I am one of them people. I'm kind of quote unquote a good audience member, if that makes sense. And most people, they aren't like that. They'll start doing other shit, looking at the phone, not paying attention. And for me, even them doing bad in my mind is part of the comedy. But for a lot of people, it's not part of the comedy. For a lot of people, if you're not throwing out these yucks, the fuck am I doing here? You're wasting my time. And as we say, me and Roger view comedy very different. We've been at places where people have bombed and we actually looked at each other and had a ball, watching the person bomb. And and we've been at clubs where sometimes people have told jokes and they almost like inside baseball type of jokes, but because me and Roger watch so much comedy, sometimes we have been literally the only table cracking up laughing hard, and almost like everybody will look at us going, I guess we can laugh because they're laughing. And sometimes we've been at places where comedians will actually tell the joke directly to our table, because they know, like, hey, I know that these people are going to give me some form of an energy. It ain't going to be like I'm just standing up here just gazing at the walls. And everybody, they don't consume comedy like that. They're not good audience members like that. Like, it varies per person. And a lot of people will not admit that they don't consider comedy and going to comedy shows live a good time either. Like that also falls into it too.
Yep. I think we got one more voicemail. Let me play this one. I don't know who it's from.
Hey, Rod and Karen. I was calling because I just got done listening to an episode where you were talking about children and how a lot of the parents end up catching COVID-19 from their kids. They're spreading it. They're just as much danger as we are, and yet their vaccination rates are low and a lot lower. My daughter had been sick for weeks, and we were trying to figure out what's going on with her. We've been told that it was a virus and all types of different things. She was in and out of the hospital, stomach cramps, having a really hard time, admitted in the hospital a couple of times. They could not figure out what it was. It wasn't COVID, no vaccine that they had never seen before. And they just was like, not vaccine, virus. And they just were like, well, it's a virus. And,
wow,
she was in pain for so long. She woke up with half her face swollen one morning, and I decided to take her back in. This whole time for weeks, this is just this morning, but this whole time for weeks, she was diagnosed with the mumps. Mumps is not something we typically see anymore in society because there's vaccinations for it, and she's up to date on all her vaccinations. So I'm like, how the fuck did my baby get mumps? Like, do people get that shit anymore? All that to say, fucking vaccinate your kids, because the people who, look, there's one of my kids in the background, Lord.
She like, yes, get vaccinate them.
The people who actually vaccinate their kids suffer because she can still catch this shit because you didn't vaccinate your fucking child. And now my baby walking around here with mumps and can't go to school. Okay, I'm about to get cut off. All right, bye.
Man, I feel for you. And
I feel you. Unnecessary medical bills and shit. People do not understand. And what's so fucked up? The parents that are like, I'm not getting my child vaccinated. Bitch, you were vaccinated. You were probably vaccinated. You were vaccinated. And it's very frustrating because these kids don't have a choice in this. And all you're doing is bringing back shit that we fucking have eradicated. Shit that you actually don't want your child to have.
Yep. All right, let's get to the final section. Let's get to these emails. The first one has no subject. It's from Louis, who says, the little penny voice had me rolling. It's fucked up because that's how a cat that smells bad sounds. Now, many of you won't know what that references to until you listen to it later if you haven't already, but it's the pregame episode. It's on your Spotify premium, just the tippers. Okay, y'all should have it. Is also, let me make sure that I'm right when I say that. And then also it is on the premium feed for everybody else. So make sure y'all check that out. It was a story about this dude that me and Justin got on a tangent, which is all pregame really is, and we were talking about must and musty people and people that stink and our experiences trying not to be the musty person and dealing with musty people and stuff. I think the episode is called Musty. So check it out. Episode 2683, TikTok therapy. This is from Teresa, who says, "Hey Rod and Karen, I'm not on TikTok or Instagram, and I barely use Twitter that much outside of work stuff, so I'm never up to date on any of the ongoings over there. I've heard about the ones who were at the hospital talking about a newborn mothers, but this new wave of therapists posting about their sessions and clients is wild. Also, sorry in advance for a long email. Let me see. Oh, it is very long. All right, let's see what we do. Here we go. Y'all mentioned before social media, many of these therapists were posting their journals, but even to publish, you cannot use any identifying information, and you won't get published if you do. Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like the journals had standards, so you couldn't just like hop out of the fucking couch and then go turn on a camera that faces towards you and start telling the world somebody's business. There were a bunch of fucking things between that.
Yes, regulations and ethics.
I can't speak for psychology journals since that's not my specialty, but even in chemistry, when I'm working with human subjects, I cannot have any identifying information, even if it's an anecdote. I do research with students to look into how they come to understand and learn chemistry. I have to go through the protocol reviewed by the internal review board in the documentation. They have to have a copy of everything, all the activities we plan on doing, all the questions I plan on asking them, a copy of the informed consent documentation, a timeline of when we'll meet and what we'll do, a description of when I will inform participants about informed consent, a data management plan, and an outline of what risk and benefits someone might have from participating. Even if it's a benign study, if I'm working with humans, I have to have all of this documentation approved and reviewed before I can talk to anyone. And I will be held responsible if I deviate from that. If I get partway through and have to make a change, I have to resubmit to the IRB and get their approval again. The two documents that I think are most important in the context of the informed consent documentation, because one of them therapists mentioned their clients have signed, and the data management plan. Informed consent isn't just a document that people sign once, not if you will be interacting with them multiple times. In some work, I have students come back to do an interview at a later date to see if they still remember the information or if their opinions have changed. Before we start the second session, I have to remind them they can opt out of even if I had their consent in the first session. Informed consent means that patients are reminded and given an opportunity to opt out at every opportunity. I also have to explain fully the purpose of the work we're doing. Study and the participants are given ample time to read the documentation, are given a copy of it to review at a later time so they can opt out if they think about it more and want to. If it's truly informed consent, people can opt out of it at any time. Because this therapist mentioned informed consent, I'm worried that they aren't following through and reminding their clients. Like Rod said, if you're new in therapy for the first time or even just anxious, they send you all this paperwork and you just sign. Maybe everyone is doing all of this every time before they post a TikTok, but I prefer systems of accountability and transparency, not trust. Also, do these informed consent documents hold up legally? Part of the IRB review process is to ensure that the university or sponsor of the research is covered legally. But even outside of these scenarios, I used to work during science outreach, and we couldn't take pictures of kids' faces without a release form by their guardian. Those forms had to be approved by our school lawyers, and we couldn't change it in any way, because without certain pages, they wouldn't hold up in court. Every time we needed to get those form signs, we would take the previous form, inform the lawyers that we wanted to use it, and ask if they had an updated one, because the required language might have changed. For these TikTok therapists saying they have a form, do they have a legal team check it? Is there any oversight and regulation for how these are explained or discussed? If not, those consent forms might not mean nothing if they were to be sued. Listen, man, this is
that's the part I didn't understand. I was like, I hear y'all what y'all saying, but I guarantee you, for some of these people, they're gonna be like, I didn't sign for this bullshit. And it would not be surprising if they got phone calls from people going, the fuck you talk about online.
But this is also the problem with, there's two things about this thing that I'm thinking. One, they're giving content online we're watching the feedback online. Of course, the online content discussion bends more towards you should overshare. You should, because it's all content. It's entertainment to me. The second thing is with these forums and stuff, a lot of times people will just say anything, but when you have to go to court over it or something, some repercussion comes out of it, or some review board or somebody does get your job, it's a lot of people that's how they find out. Actually, that's not how that works. So you could be on the front cutting edge of fucking around and finding out. The second is data management plan. If you are collecting data about people or from people, if your data management plan, you have to explain in detail how you will protect the person's information. You might give everyone a code name or a number to identify them. In order to excuse the participant's identity, you might have a larger pool of people by conducting an experiment in multiple places, or even maybe you run the same experiment in the same place over and over for years. All of these will make it harder to single one person out. You also have to describe how you will keep the data, what type of computer, who has access to it. When you decide to share the data, how will it be shared? A publication with journals, a video, a YouTube, a blog? What channel, what website, how will it be shared? All of this has to be outlined in the data management plan. Something these TikTok therapists are doing that's wow to me is sharing where they work. When I publish about a study that took place at a certain college or university, I can't even say what institution. I have to say something like a small liberal arts college in the Northeast. All of these are steps that you have to take to make sure that someone cannot with certainty trace back and find or identify participants. Also, that participant shouldn't feel like they've been singled out. They should be able to read your work, publication, video, and know that they shouldn't be able to read it and know it's about them. The last thing to mention is this. At least in chemistry, I don't get to decide on whether I'm doing is exempt from review of the IRB board. If I'm doing an activity that I plan on sharing with the community, I have to submit an IRB proposal, and the IRB decides if it's exempt or not. Again, that's accountability and transparency. This kind of stuff really makes me worried that someone's going to make a misstep big enough to get sued in my state, Pennsylvania, and many others. Licensing expires after 2 years for therapists. Part of the renewal process requires taking a course in ethics as part of continuing education. I would be happy if a new law required us this under this ethics section would be part of that, or if the American Counseling Association's Code of Ethics would be updated to cover this, since that's typically the standard U.S.-based therapists are held to. Then they need to implement their system to take away licenses or deny renewals. But since licensing is state by state, I'm not sure if there will be a good solution anytime soon without some huge lawsuit. Yeah, and it's also something else where, like, it's like they're ahead of the law on this. Like, it's not that there shouldn't be standards. It's just they're ahead of anyone really developing true standards, universal standards. Because even the people that claim to know, I've heard multiple people that claim to know what the ethics is around this have different opinions. So that and none of it seemed to be enforceable. Like, no one's like, and as you can tell from the discussion online, if the baseline for right and wrong is going to be, can you take my license? That's already a bad start. It's not an ethical start. That's a how can I get away with this start. Personally, for me, I'm going to therapy because I'm messed up and I'm trying to get better. If a part of my trauma deals with taking advantage of me for their own personal gain, I guess people taking advantage of me, I would never be okay with a therapist who was using me for content to post their social media or for internet points. Even if they had the best of intentions. No way. Y'all said in the podcast, I'm paying you for 100% of your time and energy and that effort in that session. Don't share that with anybody. That's wild to me. Yeah, I think also that what's weird about that too is, like, you can't separate their personal brand from their professional brand, so you really don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's like, are you sharing this to prove you're a great therapist and other people should come to you? Or are you sharing this for some other reason? Because when you start sharing stuff like, I'm not taking men as clients, I don't think that's not like the selling point of what you do. If you were selling something, you'd be like, I'm taking women as clients exclusively. I'm a business that is dedicated to empowering women, blah, blah. You would say that. But if the main two things people know about you is you don't take white people and you don't take men, that's not, personally, that seemed like a bad business strategy. You know? It's like us making an ad for the game theory and it's about all the people we don't want to watch the show. Like, what did that mean?
Right.
All right, that's it. I took up enough of your time. Much love. Stay safe and healthy out there, Gaff. Thank you.
Thank you, baby.
Danica says, hi, Rod. I'm a listener, and I'm also a licensed social worker, but I do not practice. I'm submitting some thoughts for an upcoming feedback show. I think the therapists we're seeing on social media are already in ethical violation. Through MFTs, PsyDs have their own. Though MFTs and PsyDs have their own professional body, it probably says something similar though. I just thought you should know that the NASW, the Professional Society of Social Workers, basically, does have a social media policy. I've shared it below, just in case you wanted to share with your listeners. And yeah, it's a lot of words.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go. Standard 2.10. Man, I just want y'all to know as fans, we love y'all. Specifically me, because I'm the one gotta read all this shit. Understand? I just hope y'all appreciate it. That's all. Standard 2.10. Social media policies inform clients regarding their social workers' professional use of social networking sites, email, text messaging, electronic search engines, smartphone applications, blogs, business review sites, and other forms of electronic communication. A carefully constructed social media policy that social workers share with clients can enhance protection of private information and maintain clear boundaries. The social media policy should be reviewed with clients during the initial interview of the social worker client relationship and revisit and update as needed. Yeah, and they're not doing all that. But there's other. Oh, go ahead.
I said, right, and that makes sense. Like, yeah, if you're gonna do this is probably something you probably have to consistently tell them. You probably need to do this every session to be sure that it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. It's like, yeah, dog. It's like, just listen to what y'all doing. I was like, I don't think this is how none of this shit works, y'all.
And it's very shady because they'll treat their social media accounts like they're private and personal when they need to, and professional in other instances.
Right.
And I think that's such bullshit. Like whenever they're dispensing information, it's under their professional But whenever they're playing victim, it turns into it's a personal thing with me. Or whenever it's when you want to say something negative about a type of client or something, that's your professional opinion. People say anything back to you, they taking it personally. Like, it's just very weird because it's your name on there. Like, you're not doing it from the such and such practice. You're doing the tweets with your face and all that shit.
Yes, sir.
Standard 2.15, organizing and advocacy. When using technology to organize communities and advocate, social workers shall take reasonable steps to ensure that the information shared using technological tools is honest, accurate, and respectful. Interpretation. Social workers who are using thought-provoking language and stories to attract attention and motivate people to action should ensure that their content or their communication is honest, accurate, respectful, and is neither exploitative of clients nor sensationalistic. And I'm telling you, that last line. Kind regards, Danica. Yeah, I think there's just gonna have to be a reckoning at some point. And I don't wish nothing ill on these people. I just think it's very dishonest and it's very manipulative the way they put this shit out and then play the victim. I just think that's just whack. TikTok therapy feedback. This is from our girl Marissa. For my New Year's resolution, I wanted to add 2 new purely fun hobbies to my life to fight back against becoming a corporate workaholic. One I was able to start in January, and the other I plan to start in May. I never thought these two interests could intersect until now. Pole dancing and stand-up sounds like a fucking dream. I already done hit the pole, so let me get down my stand-up fundamentals.
Shit, you done hit the pole. I don't have enough core strength. Me and one of my friends ended up going into like one of the like the sex shop where they sell stuff, and they had a pole, and the dude was like, "Hey, you can do pole dance class." I was like, "Look, sir, I don't have the core strength for pole dancing, but you let me get my core strength up. It actually looks like it would be a lot of fun. Nothing professional, nothing like that, but it looked like it would be a lot of fun to actually go to like a professional pole dancing class where they actually go through like your basic steps, and it looked like it would actually be a hell of a workout. Like, I wouldn't mind actually doing something like that, not just funny, just for the joy of it.
She says, I already done hit the pole, so let me get down my stand-up fundamentals, and baby, I'm gonna be serving ass and laughs all at the same time.
Come on through. I thought about taking one of them comedy courses. And I know a lot of comedians, but that's a waste of your money. But somebody like me, I think I could do something like that. Like, go through where you take the comedy course, and then you go through and they tell they show you the fundamentals, and you go like a graduation, and you do your hot minute and a half. Like, I can see myself doing something like that.
And yes, pole is hard as fuck, and I love it. Karen, highly recommend you try it. If you're looking for something fun, best workout ever, and has done wonders to be even more appreciative of my body. And yes, the community is super supportive. You're gonna see boyfriends, friends, mamas and daddies, and everybody else supporting polers. My mama said once I start performing, she'll be there, but with sunglasses on so no one sees her face. I said she better get on her Kris Jenner. But Rod, you did not need to drag me when you said that supporters also look like. When you said the supporters also looked like they were gonna poll and they were giving cleavage, I immediately thought about the show I'm going to on Sunday and how I have a sheer low cut bra planned in my outfit. I'ma still have my titties out, but you don't need to say the quiet part out loud. Girl, we can see. We got eyes.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Marissa be like, y'all gonna get these titties. All right.
On, you gonna get these titties, you gonna get these spandex, you gonna get this motherfucking leather, you getting it all, bitch.
I'm serving titties today. Like,
come on, titties and ass.
We all see the Instagram, sis. Okay. I'm on there. I'm supportive. I'm like if you make it into my feed with the IG models, you probably out here thotting. That's and it goes for all of you of all genders. If you my friend and I see your picture in my feed, because my algorithm
honey, yes, the leather, I'll be like, oh, I like.
My algorithm is very just sex positive, for lack of a better.
It is
for sex positive to put a spin on it. Let's say that. And so it's just, if it's just like, listen, it's Buffy the Body and it's Reggie playing tennis and it's Marissa with the low cut top. I'm liking them all because I'm like, you earned it. Okay, you beat out Baha Yogi today. Okay, you doing it today.
Come on, you beat the strip club Instagram accounts that I follow. You gonna get this like
right. I still want to find out how these two things come together for a show, but glad you had fun, Karen. Maybe pole is part of the Renaissance training program. LOL.
Come on through. I'm out to that if I go see Beyonce.
Hugs and kisses. You're always polling. Sometimes funny. Extra friend, Reese. Thank you, Marissa. Reese.
Sorry, they talking about keep them off the pole. I'm about to get on the pole. I don't know if that's good or bad, baby.
All right, this is another long one. This is from our girl Kadian.
Okay.
Or Katrina. I'm sorry. It's from our girl Katrina. She says, "Hi, Rod and Karen. I hope you're both well. Time has really been beating me down the last few weeks, so I kept forgetting to leave feedback. You guys always entertain me, whether it's y'all catching up because of Rod being in NYC or a regular ass show, or when you have guests. Speaking of which, I know this is mad late, but I still wanted to write in about a few things about you two and Bossy discussed during the selective outrage by Chris Rock. Since it's so late, I'll skip the general reactions and stick to a few topics you and Bossy brought up." And then she said, "Edited the ad. I'm fine. I'm fine if you can't read this on the air due to it being too long. It's very long, but I'm gonna try."
Okay.
Timeline for processing trauma. She says, "I love your nuanced discussion about the last part of Chris's special when he talked about being assaulted by Will. I too felt a little disappointed that the material he created for it was rather shallow, especially the last joke about not fighting in front of white people. But the more I started thinking about it, I kind of felt fucked up about my view. I'm saying this personally, but I'm not about y'all or anyone else who thought that audiences are entitled to be disappointed or wish for better. I started to think, does this man owe us better jokes for something he experienced, but tens of millions of people had opinions on? Does he owe it to me to have processed this trauma in nuanced ways to turn it into specifically creative output? Though it was not physical violence in front of millions, I have experienced being dragged on Tumblr years ago by one person, followed by a bunch of supporters, and I promise I didn't say anything foul or fucked up. It did a number on me psychologically and physically, and I was not in therapy during that period. Incidentally, I started listening to Blackout Tips a few weeks later." Well, let me say this though. I don't want, and hopefully, hopefully just you're giving me an opportunity to clear it up. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying I'm disappointed in the special. I'm not even saying it wasn't good. I think I said specifically I thought it was good. I think, and maybe it's because of the industry I'm in now and the fact that people have to be critical of my work for me to reach the highest level of my work. It can't be like, they can't be like, "Hey, well, maybe you're not ready to make those jokes." They have to come in and be like, "Here's where you can make it better," right? And looking at specifically just what he did as a comedian, and I'm not better than Chris. I just ain't no shade. I'm saying I felt like it was a good special that could have been a great special, and he's capable of another great special, in my opinion. I know people will disagree with that, especially those of y'all that never thought he had a great special, but I don't agree with y'all. But if there's a great special in there that only he can tell, is what I'm saying. And he can only tell that when he's ready to tell that. So I don't expect him to push back this special. I just feel like the special when he's truly ready, if he ever is, that's the one I'm really looking forward to. Because like I said, I want to know what he can get out of comedy. If he wants to challenge himself in this way, he may not. But what can you get out of comedy that's about how you felt during that night for real? And go through the moments. Like, tell us, like I said, when there's jokes that could be so funny about, can you call the police on a black man who's about to win an Oscar? And how fucked up it is to ask you to be the one to make the decision. And it's and how fucked up it is, for it to be on the night a black dude is producing the Oscars for the first time. Like, the after party, how it affected his relationship. What did his family say to him about it? You see what I'm saying, guys? This is not a mean place. I'm not one of these Chris Rock hating niggas. And I'm not saying he should have been able to do that last night. I'm saying, if you ask me how I feel about the special, I'm like, it was good. And at the end of the day, I'm not gonna put it above his oldest shit. I think those are really great. But I thought it was good. I was higher on it than a lot of people that work in comedy. But I was like, a great special is just not in the cards right now. He seemed keyed up. He seemed very emotional at the end. And not just performance, like he was still mad about it, and it's gonna be a while. And he should be able to take as long as he wants to, and if ever, he don't owe us shit. He never has to make those jokes. He never has to say anything I just said. But if you're asking me my opinion as a viewer, that's what I think would have made that special iconic, is him really living in that shit for like 20-30 minutes and giving us, like, no, for lack of a better term, the blow by blow of like, this is what it was like to be Chris Rock that night. And this is how my mind processed it, Is that I started to think, she said, I was so beset with anxiety for weeks. The incident was like an infestation of bed bugs in my mind that I couldn't fumigate. I eventually got on an SSRI antidepressant because I was literally still data gathering on the site for my PhD, so I couldn't opt out and log off. My whole dissertation depended on analyzing fandom posts. Anyway, my point is that a year later, I tried to present a paper related to my experience at a conference, and it was not good. I had not processed the shit enough to turn it into anything useful. Finally, in 2020, when I was writing up my dissertation, I was able to discuss personally and intellectually more on that in the last section of the email. This email got a glossary.
We got an addendum.
She's like, listen, y'all gonna get these words. It took 5 damn years, back to therapy, reading, and willingness to face the trauma and learn something about myself from it. Only recently, 2 weeks ago, did I connect the anxiety spiral I experienced in 2015, the childhood trauma of my Jamaican accent in elementary school. I was that 7-year-old girl all over again. A brick wall at recess, against a brick wall at recess, being called Jamaican booty scratcher by my peers. This is not the same as Chris, but perhaps what we saw in that special is just the initial processing of his trauma. His body language, the rise in tension in his body, the anger were all things I could feel through the screen. I recognize it because I've been there. Yeah, and I mean, it's obviously subjective, but I've never seen Chris Rock that mad. Like, I've seen him do anger on stage,
right?
But it didn't feel like that. Like, that shit felt, he was mad. Like, it wasn't just I'm hyping up my emotion to deliver the punchline. It didn't matter if maybe because it was live and it was the first time most of us were seeing it. It just felt extra. And once again, not a judgment of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, who knows how any of us would feel in those situations,
Right.
But she said his body language, I could feel it through the screen. I recognize it because I've been there. If he ever revisits March 22nd in the future, we may get a sharper take on it, to be perfectly honest. I reread the chapter in my dissertation about what happened, and I think I could go deeper with it. But that's how time and processing work. And to be real, I'm low-key having an anxiety attack as I write this email. But I'm fine. I need to write this. Moving on. Opting in and out of victimhood. The other part of Chris Rock's special I did want to address was his reluctance to identify as a victim. The parallels with the earlier part of the special when he talked about people being victims to get attention on social media. So he had already set up victimhood as an identity tied to manipulation. It got me thinking that circumstances under which people identify and disidentify with victim label, especially on social media, this is a simplified distinction I came up with. Victim identity. Legitimate victims who have been wronged or violated in some identifiable way, where the power dynamics are clear, validates their experience. Also under that, if being a victim allows a person to escape all or most accountability for their part of the situation, or if they might identify as a victim if being a victim allows a person to access power via manipulation or sympathy or empathy, usually that is allowed to quote unquote legitimate victims, right? Then she says victim disidentification. When the victim label signifies weakness, vulnerability, penetrability, especially if it clashes with social perceptions of masculinity, e.g. male suffers of sexual assault, and narrow definitions of strength, especially though when strength is about race, gender, sexuality, class, or any combination of those. And the other one was when the victim label places a person in danger. This is unrefined, but that's the gist, I think. What's interesting is that Chris kind of did identify as a victim when he pointed out the power dynamics, height, build, reputation between him and Will. He basically called Will a bully. I know, that's what I'm saying. It's a little not, so it's, I don't want to say dishonest, but denial. It feels a little bit like he's just in denial. Social media and communities of disaffection. Lastly, I'm so sorry. You, Rod, brought up the fact that people on social media create community out of shared sense of hatred. Absolutely. I expanded on this point in my dissertation chapter that focused on fan antagonisms and interracial conflicts. Communities of dissatisfaction are mirrors of communities of affection, or what we typically call fandoms. Instead of forming a shared bonding over the object of the affection, game, TV show, celebrity, etc., they develop shared bonds from a negative space. In order to maintain the bonds of the group, they have to keep hating because this is the basis of the group's socialization. Getting out of that can be difficult because there's emotional attachment there. I know you have mentioned Sarah Schulman's book, Conflict is Not Abuse, and the Flying Monkeys thing on social media. I only just started that book. Yes, this what the fuck I'm talking about. So I had created different categories when writing about the different players connected to the communities of disaffection. I used a high school football game based analogy. Flaming baton twirler. This is the leader of disaffection, the one who sources the material of the hot takes, shit posting reactions, and come smell this aggregator. They have to reach higher and higher heights with their baton twirling maneuvers to impress and garner attention from the group, keep them invested, and keep their status as leader. Without the cheerleaders of the groups, they have nothing. The next group, right. Cheerleaders, everybody else in the disaffected community, aka the Flying Monkeys. The cheerleaders support the leader through dissemination and negative commentary, and they don't want it to start anything, but will absolutely add to the thread if the leader starts. It adds to the group coherence to multiply opportunities for the group to bond. Yeah, and I think if you become popular on social media to some level, because I've experienced this, there are people who want to be your Flying Monkeys, and they
whether you want to be or not.
Like they want to show they like you, and their way of showing they like you is like, if I have a problem with someone or something, they're willing to go harass that person on my behalf. I've just never wanted that. I know people who have assumed I would want that. I know people who have, and I think mostly because if they were in my situation, they would abuse that type of thing and have people doing that shit. But right. they react to me like I would be the kind of person that do that, but I'm not. I don't want it. I really genuinely, it's not even that I don't want it. It skeeves me out. I don't.
It's part of your personality, right?
Yeah, I don't need the friend with me that's like, I'll punch a nigga in the face for any. Like, I'm like, no. I don't carry that energy. You don't got to carry it on my behalf.
Nope.
You know, I don't want to jump nobody. I want to make no, like, and if I have a problem with somebody, I'm perfectly fine dealing with it myself. I don't need, this ain't a loyalty challenge where I got to punch them and then look at you like, you going to punch them? Like, I'm punching them because I want to punch them. It ain't got shit to do with you. Audience in the stand, these are the people who are happy to watch the game unfold from these sidelines. They may even like, post, and tweets, but will not retweet or comment. They love the mess and sometimes seek it out, but will not be seen as part of the cheerleaders. They could easily disinvest and some real consequences pop up.
Right.
Yeah. And a lot of them motherfuckers will change on you too.
Yep. At the drop of a hat.
Yeah. Like those are the ones I'll be talking about when I'm like, y'all on this therapist dick right now, but she's one TikTok from everybody being like, man, fuck her.
One post, one word, right?
Because that first therapist, everybody was on her back, had her back. And then she got fired and she started posting like GoFundMe's and talking about how she was saving us and she was like she was the hero in this situation, a martyr of some type. And there was a lot of people that I had seen egging her on that suddenly was like, nah, I ain't giving you no money. You look stupid. You lost your job. Ha ha ha.
Yep.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Care. It's nothing. They have no investment.
Right. Okay, I'm sorry. That was both long and sort of explanation in some places. Thanks for reading and for being who you are. Love y'all, Katrina. Love you back, Katrina. And I read the whole thing because you took the time to write the whole thing, and we appreciate you. You know. And I think Katrina is one of the people that I saw her kind of tweeting about this, and I actually DM'd her, and we had like a discussion in the DMs because I don't want to talk to people about it on the timeline in front of everybody. It's just ridiculous. But I legitimately just wanted to pick her brain. Like it wasn't like you need to feel this way. Why you say that? It was like like, so what do you think about it? And because I'm like, maybe I'm missing the perspective. It can happen. It can happen. But like some of this stuff in the way it's couched, like even the way that therapist talked about, I'm doing emotional labor for my male clients. It just felt weird because like you're actually being compensated for whatever like
you're not doing it for free.
Like you literally doing a job that requires you to labor through people's emotions. It just feel like it just don't make sense. Like
no,
it just
don't. They're paying you to be here. I don't understand. You're not doing it for free, and you're not doing it for charity.
That's what it is. I've been trying to put my finger on this the whole time. It's like you're using your personal relationship and personal life complaints in your professional life. And it is not congruent because it is if you want me to respect it as a profession, it is a profession. You know what I'm saying? It would be like an actor saying, yeah, I worked on the set of this movie and they made me kiss Leonardo DiCaprio. And you're like, what? You took the role of Leonardo DiCaprio's love interest in Titanic. You didn't think you want to kiss him? Well, it's my body. It's my right. And I just feel like they made me do sexual labor kissing Leonardo DiCaprio. And it's like, some people would eat it up because of it's the nature of the wording of the personal victimhood. They'd be like, yeah, that was they violated your boundaries, sis. But a lot of us would be like, dog, that's literally what the job is. Like,
yes.
You will go like you can't derail a whole movie because you decided to take it personal that the role of this character as a love interest would eventually kiss this man. That's kind of the difference, I think, for me. So John says, good morning, Rod and Karen. I think you nailed it about the Oscars. People at the Academy are absolutely obsessed with narratives. Whether it's a legend of the craft finally getting acknowledged, or sometimes a new up-and-comer surprising anyone, or someone coming back after years away from the industry, their votes are based on who they like, which narrative is the most exciting for them in any given moment. I still haven't seen Wakanda Forever. Yes, I know it makes me racist. That's right, you are right. But I thought Stephanie Hsu's performance was so much better than Jamie Lee's in Everything Everywhere All at Once. Though Jamie Lee's was good, my guess is that the legend who finally gets her due narrative was the real winner. Hopefully Miss Bassett will get rewarded for the same someday. Yeah, it's so weird because people always say that. They go, oh, they should have won X amount of years ago. It's like, well, that definitely set up the narrative. You know what I'm saying? It's like Denzel losing for Malcolm X kind of sets up the Training Day narrative. Like next time he gets one of these type of movies, we can't let him lose because we already did him wrong. And while you're giving it to him, someone's getting done wrong that year.
Agreed.
Right. If you believe in that shit. I think I have the perfect American solution for school shootings. Retrofit every school so the classrooms are built over a pool of battery acid with a bunch of trap doors on the floor. When an active shooter situation happens, the teacher can use a remote control to drop the shooter into the acid, hopefully picking the right trap door. Yeah, that's smart. And no kid no child will ever get a hold of the switch. No teacher will ever go crazy and just I wouldn't do anything that empowered teachers to have weapons in school because have y'all met y'all's kids?
Right.
Like some of these motherfuckers, it won't be a school shooting. It just be that kid shooting if teachers have guns. A little disrespectful motherfucker. Pow! Look, disrespectful motherfucker. Now who's next? 2 + 2 is what? Say what, motherfucker? Nah, anyway.
it'll be a problem.
Sure, there's a significant chance they might get it wrong and innocent child will end up dying excruciating death, but at least we won't hurt the feelings of gun owners. Yeah, America, fuck yeah.
Look, yeah.
When you start that discussion, I immediately saying the ghetto to my car stereo.
on.
Just curious, what is that clip? Where's that clip from? It's a song, right? Oh,
Talking
no,
about
no.
the ghetto.
He's talking about the ghetto. Nene Lee
Oh,
from Real Housewives of Atlanta, I believe.
yes. That's
Karen,
my clip right there.
Karen, when you said Major League Baseball was probably a sponsor to the Justice Smollett documentary, I almost spilled my coffee. Hilarious. Yes.
Thank you.
And lastly, this is probably more a pregame show, but I really hope nothing terrible happens to Leon and Wanda on Snowfall. Can we talk about how gorgeous Wanda looks in these African prints? Oh yeah. Cheers and stay safe. Yeah, man, it's so funny. It's so funny. And this happens to so many black actors that you play a crackhead. And it's like, motherfuckers really think you that crackhead.
Right.
I don't know why, because it don't work for every other role. Like if a black person play a doctor on a TV show, motherfuckers don't come up to you like, hey man, I'm having heart palpitations. I know you on Grey's Anatomy, but if a black person crackhead, motherfuckers really like, that's a crackhead. And then when you see that they're an actor playing a part and you see them on Instagram or in a magazine cover or something, all of a sudden your penis gets hard and it's like, God damn, I want to fuck that crackhead. It's like, no, nigga, that fuckable actor was playing a crackhead. They was always bad. And I think the person, the actress who plays Wanda from Snowfall was a victim of being too good at playing Wanda from Snowfall. Because I've seen so many people showing the
pictures.
I'll pull it up. I'm pulling it up right now. They were showing pictures of Wanda from, her name is Gail Bean. They were showing pictures of Gail Bean as Wanda next to pictures of Gail Bean as Gail Bean on her Instagram and being like, look at this. I'm like, nigga, she didn't get off crack.
Right. She's acting.
She was bad as fuck the whole time. Anyway, it's only crackheads, isn't it? I don't know that there's any other role. Well, obviously every man that plays an abusive man, we know how that goes. But yeah, so you can see a picture right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's her with the makeup on and everything. I don't know how big it is on your screen.
Chocolate with them lips. Let's go.
Yeah, she was fine the whole time on the show and all this stuff, but she played a crackhead and all of a sudden we was having issues. And then this is her in the crackhead makeup. And of course, she looks terrible because she's supposed to.
Right. That's makeup. Right.
Yeah. So like this whole like thing they were going through of like, look at this. I was like, what? Why did you assume that was some groundbreaking shit? Man, I would fuck Wanda from Snowfall. I was like, yes, of course, nigga. Plus, she wasn't a crackhead the whole time on the show. There's a period of time where she was still just Wanda, his girlfriend, and she looked good then. It's people crazy, man. But yeah, she of course looks great. Africa looks great on her. And I also love how like black people in all these TV shows and movies, it's like, just go to Africa. It'll work out. Just what part of Africa? Africa. Show up, get off the plane, talk to the first black person you say, show me my house.
That ain't how this shit work.
And they go, oh shit, you ride from America? Yeah, we got you set up here on the third street. Like that, Africa, guys.
That's like, not how that works.
Like belly. This is Africa. All right, y'all. That's it. Got off to a late start, finishing kind of late. Karen has chicken to eat. Don't forget to send me the titles, Karen. I know how you get about your chicken. We'll be back. So we may do another show or two this week, possibly, but there's gonna be a break for a little bit because Karen's gonna be up here and stuff, and so y'all won't be we won't be recording at that point in time, So we'll see y'all when we see y'all, time permitting. Until then, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah. Bye everybody. Bye baby. Enjoy your chicken.
Bye baby.